Hello, footies, and welcome back to FUT in Review, episode 674. Your currently weekly dose of everything Ultimate Team, powered of course by footcoaching.com. My name is John, and today's show, it's a glove story, because week 2 of FUT Immortals is here, and the only Gianluigi Buffon has finally been given the card he deserves. The man's been saving dreams since the 90s, and now EA's finally done him justice. I might shed a tear. With me is the dependable shot stopper of opinions. It is Chris. Hi, Chris.
Hi, John. Evening, everybody.
I practiced on that one, isn't it? And joining us as our special guest tonight is a true friend of the podcast, the man who gets a lead with his feet. It's none other than James Tolando. Welcome back, James.
Thanks a lot, John. Good evening, everyone that's listening and watching. And it's great to be on with you, John, and yourself, Chris.
Thank you, buddy.
It's good to have you back on. So lace up, warm up those gloves, and let's dive into this week of FUT madness. Let's start with Chris, though. Chris, what a week this has been. I've heard you had a tremendous week of FUT.
No, actually, it's been okay. I've been doing the evos of the Rangers players. As we know, James is a massive Celtic fan, so there'll be no rivalry tonight. I will not mention football because Celtic are absolutely flying in the league. They're no far off of winning the title again. Not very good at beating Rangers, but they're good at winning league titles. So no, my weekend it's mostly been rivals and squad battles just to get these Rangers players and evos. Be a bit disappointed in evos this week. Don't think there's been that many that's been that great. But I will venture into weekend league for the second time this season. This time I want to evo my Raskin to make him immortal.
I'm really looking forward to see if we can play Weekend League. We might have to do that in Crete. Just do a Weekend League live with you.
We need the bleeper, John. That's for sure.
I got that on the button these days, though, for you specifically. But our guest doesn't actually need an introduction, but I will give him an introduction. James Tolando77. I still don't know what the 77 stands for, but it's probably the average rating of a Celtic player in FUT.
It's just Henrik Larsson worth 7. He's got 7. Cristiano Ronaldo's got 7. So I just thought I'll just take 7-7. So I flew with that, John. That's it.
That's good. I can go in both situations. I can get behind this one, like a Feyenoord fan and one of the best strikers in the world. I mean, I can get that. James, for people that don't know you, can you give us a quick introduction?
Yeah, certainly, John. I'm a content creator for FC. As you can tell from the accent, I'm Scottish, just like Chris. Also, I actually play FC, with a twist. I was born with no arms, so I taught myself how to play, using my feet. I do have hands, but, I'm always up for a challenge, so I just taught myself how to play. So I played from a Sega Mega Drive all the way up to today's PlayStation 5. It's a normal PS5 controller. If the controller's good enough for you guys, it's good enough for me. And I just simply practice. And I've got to a stage now, like you said, the man that can get elite with his feet, just in champs. I wish I was like Chris. Unfortunately, I've played every single champs since the first week. So I'm due a break. But I'm just looking to try and get the best result for a person, playing it in an unconventional way, if you like. And recently, I actually managed to get 10 wins out of 15 games, so I was delighted with that. Absolutely brilliant. And then, like Chris, I'm really committed this year to Evos, and I've got my Celtic team. When Chris is talking about Raskin for Immortals, I've done Engels, so I'm just excited to turn Engels, from a silver card all the way up to an icon, 94 rated. So that's what gets me playing. So yeah, I'm just looking forward to it with FUT, and I'm just looking forward to be here as well. It's nice to have a chat about it.
It's good to have you back, my friend. So normally we rate the week in FUT. We have Daniel that actually is on a holiday this week, but he was still kind enough to put in the intro music, of course, for the topic. So in the week of FUT, you give a rating for this week 1 to 10. Tell us what your highlight or your nightmare was, because if you scored 1, it's probably not a highlight. I know. Let's start with you, James, this week.
Well, we'll go with 7.7 then, shall we? 7.7. Go with that. Why don't we? It's been good. I think it's been actually good. This promo on a whole. I feel sometimes promos don't get the love they get for simply because, like, if you cast your mind back to maybe 2 weeks ago, we were in a promo and Immortals was already getting leaked. You know, there was a big hype for it. Everyone's talking about it. Then when it finally gets there, you're getting a wee bit disheartened because you've seen everything already. But I think if you didn't see any leaks about it or read anything on social media, I think you would be happy with it. The evolutions, I do agree with what Chris touched on. The evolutions haven't been that great. And then also, over the last 2 months, the evolutions has been like based on like FC points now, paid, which I'm not a big fan of, to be honest with you. But what I'm a big fan about is that they actually made the Immortal Evo either option 1, 500k or 1000 FC points, or option 2, you do it via SBC. And I thought that was very, very good. I believe it's 389 squads and 87 and an 86, and I might get this wrong, but I think it's 2 or 3 team of the weeks. I think that's good. You know, if you're running an RTG and see you get 300k, just to spend 50k on fodder, then use the rest in your club, it's pretty good. So from that point of view, I enjoyed it, and I thought it was a pretty decent SBC.
Yeah, what do you think about that, Chris? Because that's a cool way giving options, I guess.
Yeah, it's been good. I mean, I'm very much with James on this. I think, you know, James and I were just speaking as well. I mean, I think almost definitely you will see Maeda getting the team of the season, but apart from that, I don't think there'll be any other players for the Scottish Premier League getting. Though, I mean, I'm not a huge follower at Celtic, but they've been on fire. But I think their team, probably Maeda, is the star of the show this season. So I don't think many will get in there. I would like to see a goalkeeper Evo. You're probably the same as me, James. You know what I mean?
Oh, definitely.
You know, I'm surprised that they don't have that, and that would be a real boon for them. Yeah, I like the options. I have to say, they've been great with options. You know, the Maradona, they've been good with that as well. You can upgrade them, and I came up against a guy who I think hadn't went with the paid Evo. They'd actually kept him, but they managed to upgrade him as well. So if you wait, it's there. Highlight for me was my Danilo, the Brazilian striker. It cost $6 million. I did pay for the strike force, and they've made him 94 rated, and he's brilliant. He's really good. So for me, gameplay wise, probably an 8. Content wise, I think it's been about a 4, because I think the pack weight's been really poor. You know, how many times has people packed 89 Blanc? I think at this stage of the game, he's kind of unusable. And that's been the issue. I don't see many big pools in our Discord as well. What about yourself, John?
I actually had a lot of time is all in perspective, of course, but I had a decent amount of time this week to play, and I have done so. I think I played about 50 games, which is a lot, at least for me lately. I would give him up. I really enjoyed myself this week on FUT. It's good. I was able to spend some more time on it, on actually playing instead of only talking about it. I did made a 5 at the back formation. Maybe I should not talk about it out loud. But that got me through some back into the divisions. I really enjoyed that. I did an evolution, Chris. Mm-hmm. Yes, I did an evolution.
Oh, who did you do?
The guy we talked about before the show started, James. Bueno.
Nice.
The left back from Feyenoord. I tossed him in that SBC. I forgot the name of the SBC. Left center or something it's called. Back to center or something. But he's now a 92 rated left fullback that can also play left midfielder, which is cool because the next formation we'll be working on for the Patreon is a 3-5-2. So he'd fit that role perfectly. And I discovered that not all Evos are green when you actually finish them, because this one does look pretty decent. Nothing against green, James, but I just don't like the card design of the regular Evos.
That's fine.
So yeah, good times actually. I do think the game is at a pretty good spot. We saw a lot of comments this week who asked some gameplay questions. I do feel some people said that Travella is still overpowered, for example. I feel the low driven is just a 100% goal. every single time you get in front of a goalkeeper these days. Am I wrong there, James? How's that for you been?
No, I agree. First of all, just to touch on what Chris said about the content, if I actually think about it, I packed Nedved, Blanc too many times, 4 times, and then also I don't
I
like
gotta interrupt you there for a sec, mate.
Oh, no worries.
Because the only player I wanted to pack was Nedved, and it's the only icon I packed this week. The only
you
problem
got
I've got with that is that I packed him 4 times.
Yeah.
But he is actually pretty good if you talk about like power shots. But okay, sorry, continue.
No
disrespect for Nedved, just putting it out.
Aye, no problem at all. But also as well, you get the 95 rated goalkeeper, the German lady goalkeeper. I'm old school, when you get an icon, it should be special. It shouldn't just be like 95 and it's just fodder. I don't like that. So I would just like to add that in. And then regarding your question, about low driven, I think it's definitely a go 100% if you get the high percentage angles, which I'm sure you all know about, John. And not only that, it's just from my point of view, I find finessing very difficult, and then I've got more chance of winning this week's lottery if I do power shot. I just cannot do a power shot. So I've always tried to, practice the angles of the low driven. And then I was very, very lucky, and I packed FUT birthday Kenny Dalglish. So I had the perfect player to actually try out the new mechanic, and I thought it was great. Absolutely brilliant. It was just, it's like you said, it's 100% goal. It's very, very good. And it's also very, very good that it's simple as well. Like you just have to do like a certain percentage of the shooting bar, and then you're away. Also, I done Thierry Henry, and he's got low driven. It's just fantastic. And then my Henrik Larsson, I done the 500k Evo. The name has just disappeared from me. The one that you used Danilo on, Chris. Strike Force, I think it is, sorry. Strike Force. And I gave Larson, he was, unfortunately, didn't get the plus, but he get the silver. But I still feel that's still good enough. So it's great. And also, I don't know about you guys, but I felt that FUT needed more playstyles. I was getting to the stage that I would rather passing playstyles or quick step or rapid than any shooting. So it's good that they've added something to the shooting playstyles, in my opinion.
You agree there, Chris?
Yeah, I know. I agree. I still no sure, John, if I just press it once, the low driven. I think you're just taking the mic out of me a wee bit there, because I've got Dembele. I did the Dembele SBC because I always like that card, and he has it. And sometimes I just press the button and it doesn't always come off. So I think it's just me. You know what I mean? But I think, there must be another button to press, because that seems far too simple for something that's overpowered that you just press it once. Or
it's
even
just a tap, mate. It's just tapping it. But the problem is, I do think it's a little bit too strong. I also think overhead kicks, the more I leveled up, the more I found like bicycle kicks is probably the best word for it. It shouldn't be this strong. It's easier to score a overhead kick than it is to score a header, or actually get a header on goal these days. But generally speaking, I don't want them to nerf much of him, because I do like the fact it gives you options and not one play style, one way to score. But in FIFA 17, like the first FIFA when I was actually sort of a competitive player back then, is you just double tap the button to do a low driven shot, which if you came 45 degrees on goal, you always score, right? That was the move to do. I still wake up sometimes at night pressing my thumbs twice just for getting that in. This is even easier to do than that. So I think it's a tad too strong, honestly, especially now we go into phases where these players have the playstyle plus on them, or when they're so fast you can't really keep up and all they have to do is tap a button to actually score. Might be a little bit too much, but that's just my weekly experiences maybe. So that's why I would rate it a proper 8, but a little bit of an 8 minus maybe, because I do feel it could use a little bit more balance. But
still a high rating, John. Still a high rating.
Yeah.
I did really enjoy it. And I got to practice for the situation in Crete where I told everyone I'm not playing, but I got a lot of messages saying you should play. You cannot play. You're possible for your third win there.
You're not getting the 3-peat, John. Don't worry about that.
No, so I was like, if I'm not getting it, I might not as well play, right? But apparently, I don't think I can get away with that. So I gotta get some practice in before that. Chris, talking about content though, Immortals Week 2 has arrived.
Yes.
Do you want to talk about Buffon? Do you want to talk about Buffon, or do you want to talk about Buffon?
I think we'll give that a pass, John. I think that's not a very good card that to talk about. I think what we'll just very quickly touch on, because it was
TA
quite
diving, not a good card.
It was quite exciting, was the Champions League this week. So the road to the finals players. So those guys now, forgive me, I believe that Odegaard was the one that was on the same time as Maicon. Have I got that right?
Yeah, that's
Odegaard
correct.
card. You know, I mean, if MD saw that game, those 2 free kicks from Declan Rice, wow, unbelievable. The first one was amazing, and the second one, I don't know if it was even better. It was just tremendous. And then the goal from Mourinho as well. So they're in a very strong position. They go to Madrid next week, 3-0 up. And he has the potential to get a 1 upgrade and a 1+ on skill moves or weak foot as well. So he looks like he's going to get it. Barcelona, if you did the Dani Olmo that was in the season rewards, unfortunately for those guys that did Slobozlai, sorry about that, but Liverpool are out. So he looks like he's going to get an upgrade, and also there's White as well. So there's some really strong cards there. So please be mindful of that. Maybe worth watching next week if you've got them tradable or that. Watch the games because they may go up in price. I just thought I'd mention that because it was really quite exciting for a change. I must admit, hated the new format of the Champions League, but I must admit, the games have been very exciting. The fact that they've done away with the nations thing, that you couldn't play someone for your own nations, I think has made it even more exciting. I don't know what you think about that, James.
I totally agree. I was a wee bit hesitant about the start of it, but I think it's worked out in the favour, especially at a club like Celtic. You know, it's worked out in our favour massively. And even if you want to talk further afield, like Aston Villa, what a great season they're having. Instead of having, you know, 2 strong teams that you play just twice, it's like 2 from each seeded pot. So it gives it, I think it's fairer that way, and it's great. And also I find it quite strange that the top clubs, you know, struggled with that, like Real Madrid, for example. I find that very, very interesting. But I do like the format. I'm a big fan of it now, definitely. And just like I do my Celtic Evos, I also do a Barcelona first owner team. So I picked up that Olmo in the season pass, so I'm delighted with that. And also, I believe Bayern Munich, they lost against Inter Milan. So if the listeners don't Upacano like myself, we're biting our nails to see if it goes through. But also the good thing is, with that tie into Milan and Bayern Munich, I believe it was an objective, correct me if I'm wrong, Fratesi. So you can move Fratesi objective and then the Upacano SBC. So really you can't lose in that aspect of the draw if you don't need it off. So yeah, it was a refreshing change. It was a good change. What about yourself, John?
No, I think I said it from day one, but Chris was making fun of me. I said from day one, I think this Champions League format is really cool because every match counts. Not like if you're a small team and you win, for example, 1 or 2 matches, things could look way differently. We've seen how that turned out the other way around for City, for example. Feyenoord had a tremendous, like we beat Bayern Munich, we beat Benfica. We had a amazing 2 parts versus AC Milan, which we won, right? Of course, Inter Milan was a bit too big, too good for us, but it's some amazing games we've seen. I mean, second week we had, I think, PSG versus City, something like that. So, yeah. Generally speaking, I like it's unpredictable. Every match counts. You don't get those draws because of, hey, we're the top 2 teams. Let's draw this one out. And then we had like 3 days of just football fireworks almost every week. So yeah, bring it on for next year. I'm a big fan. I was a big fan, and I'm glad it actually turned out for the best. And it made like things like life cards in FUT even more interesting because of the versatility of the players and the results. Chris, icons. Immortals is all about icons and heroes. Well, it's basically about icons, right?
Yeah. So
And you don't want to talk about Buffon, but still, we finally have a good goalkeeper.
We
there,
may
right?
get to that, John. Let's see if we've
Okay.
got time. We'll see if we've got time. James and I will try and talk that much. So we run out of time. We can't talk about the cards. There is an objective player, Hernandez, the Mexican striker, 90 rated. Quickly go through that one. 4-4 he is. Objectives very easy. Play one match in any ultimate team game mode. So I'm sure if you're a listener here, you'll probably play one game. 3 matches. Play 3 matches, any mode. Score 10 goals in squad battles or rivals or champs with a striker with a minimum 92 rated pace. Assist 6 separate squad battle matches with a striker. Play 6 rival matches while having 2 players from Mexico. So that might be a wee bit tough, that one, the rival ones. There used to be a famous striker that played for Feyenoord.
Yeah, we're not using them. So.
Oh, John, you must do the song. Come on, you love doing this song.
No, I'm not. I don't. I won't. I won't do it. Unless if people subscribe to patreon.com/FUT. I might do it next week.
You might do it next week. And then play 10 squad battle matches while having 2 players from the MLS. So there is a wee bit of movement there. I mean, 90 rated striker. Never really used the card much in the game. Don't know about you, James, if he's a player that you've used much of.
Not really. Did they a few years ago have a Team of the Year icon SBC? I think he had, but other than that, I haven't really used the card. But when you're going through the objectives, I think another good thing that EA's added in is that it's complete 5 of the following, so you don't need to do all of the objectives now. So I think that's pretty good in itself to skip the squad battles. But again, you know, it will be a stretch to have 2 Mexicans in your team for rivals if you're in the upper divisions. But I'm sure that's a challenge everyone looks forward to. But I think, but also I'm a big fan of playing the game to get a player. I can't knock that, to be honest. And to get an icon, I think that's great.
There's a 116,091 rated one available on the market, which you can buy to do the objective, right?
Right, okay.
But we're talking about this, like, you don't have to do all the objectives, which is cool, right? I think that is actually really good. Something else, though, here. It's a free card. He is 4-star, which is sort of, in my opinion, the only letdown of this card, but of course, not bad. But you get a card which has advanced forward ++, target forward ++, ++. He's got a quick step, but that's not too important plus. But he's got the low-driven gold ones and basically all the other ones in silver, right? On the playstyles. Ridiculously fast, 95, 92 as a striker without boost. 93 finishing. 89 composure, all right. There's nothing wrong with this card. It's totally free. If you told me a year ago that before Team of the Year or Team of the Season, we got cards like this for free, I'd be telling you'd be nuts, Chris.
Mm-hmm. No, it's a great card. I think we just, at the moment, I think we're all a bit of a rating one. Yeah. A little bit of a rating snob, aren't we? Let's be honest. I mean, we're in the 94 rated range now, or 93.
You guys are. I'm just playing with low-rated cards now.
John, you're on the gold list. Nobody's going to feel sorry for you. Nice try. Right? Nice try. You know, but it's a nice card, but I just think we're a little bit rating snob. But here's a question for you. If I could tell you that you could potentially get one of the great strikers of the game as an SBC, I think is roughly, let me just check, 1.5 million. He is, I think, 5'5", if it works quick for me. Portuguese. Great name. Famous name. What'd you say, John? Mr. Eusebio.
I mean, more than perfect SBC.
Mm-hmm.
We got Ronaldo for 1 million more than this one. But this card is, he's got 34% downvotes, and I don't get why. He's got rapid power shot, first touch, and maybe not all the striker shooting things you want on him, but still 94 finishing, 94 composure. He's fast, he can dribble, he's agile, 5-star, 5-star. Got basically all the rules you need. And 1.5, where in a phase of this game where you get, it's a 4-star, 5-star, by the way, I suddenly see. But 1.5 million for a card that's really good and you get 90 cards for free now from objectives. I'm almost inclined to say it's a must-do, except for the fact people will have the striker positions pretty much slaughtered in so far. What do you reckon, James?
Well, what I'm going to say probably sounds crazy, but going to your last point that a lot of people would have of strikers. Like, so at the moment, I've got FUT Birthday Kenny Dalglish, 94 rated Henrik Larsson, and I've got Henri as my bench to come on. So I don't know where I would fit this card, but at the same time, I still want to do this card, to be honest, because I think it would be better than Henri. I could even possibly, compare like for like with Kenny Dalglish. Even if he was better than Henrik Larsson is not dropping out of my team. So I think it's a good card, but also it's one of the cards, John, that you can see the stats, you can see it's 4-5, you can see all these play styles, but it's a card that you don't realise how good it is unless you've used them before in previous titles. I feel with that. I feel it's a very, very good card, and to be honest, yeah, I'd probably replace him with Kenny Dalglish, to be honest, and just put him on the side. And also, I rate one of the playstyles extremely, extremely important, which possibly might be overlooked, but not necessarily us. But first touch, I think that's brilliant. I think to be good at this game, really, really good, you need to have your first touch always away from the defender or into space. So to have a first touch plus is great. And I learned that with Future Stars. I picked Mark Gayu from my Barcelona team. He's 92 rated and he's got other playstyle pluses, but I felt having him on first touch plus was a real game changer. And just that touch away from the defender if they're jockeying or if they're trying to time the tackle, just it works so well with first touch. I don't know if you feel the same, guys.
Chris?
Well, unfortunately, I've got a touch like an elephant when it comes to playing this game. So basically, I'm pressing the sprint button as soon as I've got it. So my second touch is generally a tackle. Is the truth. But no, yeah, I mean, I'll take that on board. Actually, James, that's an interesting insight. I've never really thought about it, to be fair. So for me, I just think there's at this stage of the game, and both of these have kind of sold it to me. There's not a lot happening. We've all got these cards. My SBC storage is already at 100. Do them, play with them, have a bit of fun with them. His 95 rated team of the year card is 1.6. If you've got the coins, you could buy that one if you really wanted to. Did want to sink your fodder, but I don't really see what else there is to do at the moment in the game, and we are probably a month away from team of the season. I would
Great
say.
to say though, pretty cheapish Eusebio card, and they're like, yeah, we might just do him because there's not much else to go for. Wait, what?
Mental,
We're in the Twilight Zone, eh?
Yeah,
we are.
yeah.
It's crazy. I mean, I suppose I'll ask you guys. So start with James. Are you going to do it, James?
Well, you've hit the nail on the head. There's not much to really go for unless you're still trying to get Hullet, if you haven't already done him. But yeah, I would certainly do it. And then it goes back to my earlier point with packing so many 95 rated. And again, I do apologise. I still don't remember the lady's name, but the German goalkeeper, the 95 rated. So I've got like 4 of her at the moment, and my storage is also full as well. So I wouldn't say Nedved again, John. So we'll say I've got loads of Blancs. So yeah, so I'll certainly get it
You're
done.
talking
Yeah.
about Angers, right? That's the goalkeeper you mentioned.
Oh right, okay, is that right? Yeah,
Angers.
Algeria.
90k though, still. And I promised last week to use her. I honestly, she doesn't do anything that Casillas doesn't do. So if you pack her and you don't have Casillas in goal, for example, you don't really notice the size, I think, because she's really quick and good at jumping. So I think it's a fun card, honestly. Just to give her a little bit of credit as well, James, because before you know, I've asked her to come. No. I think it's a cool card, but I agree. Eusebio is probably worth doing, but I'm not doing it, Chris. And I'm not doing it because I decided to build my team around players I either adore or I have a commitment list because, for example, they're Feyenoord. So that's why I said I got Bueno at left back now. I'm using Van Persie and striker next to Van Basten. And I know Van Basten is at Feyenoord, but he's just a legendary striker, right, for us. Pirlo midfield. I need to get my hands on the Buffon card somehow, of course, to get in the team. I use NetFed, and honestly, I've said this before. Unless you're fighting for like that competitive edge all the way in your elite division, but also want to qualify for something, but there's not much to qualify for. But unless you're playing this game professional, Van Basten is still doing the work, right? And I don't think it would matter that much if you use a 92 for Basta or 93 Eusebio. If he fits your playstyle, it's still fine. I'm not checking Van Basten's stats. He's got 20. No, he's got 43 matches. So I played 43 matches basically this week. I think I said 50, but probably 43. And he's got 78 goals for me, and that's all rivals. And Van Persie is at 49 goals and 49 matches. For me, it's just it won't make that much of a difference. So I'm not doing him, but I do think it's a good SBC. I think it's a very good player, and I do think they price it really reasonable. But yeah, we get a Paixão card, play of the month soon, I think. So.
What's your opinion on the actual pricing of SBCs this year? Do you feel they've got that correct, or do you feel it needs to get changed?
Chris?
You admit it's a long show. I think they've done the people who did the Ronaldo dirty, if I'm being honest with you, James.
We did the Gullit first, the much more dirtier.
Yeah, the guys like myself who did the Ronaldo SBC have been done dirty because they did that one. Then they bring out Strike Force for, a quarter of the price if you really wanted to. And you've generally got a better card from that, So I did that one. The people who did Hula, feel sorry for those guys. So I think in terms of the price in Ronaldo was too expensive, but there was nothing really on the go at that time. This one at 1.5 I think is pretty fair, especially with the number of cards that they've got available. I think, no, to be fair, apart from the Ronaldo one, I would give them a thumbs up.
Yeah, me too. I think usually it's pretty much on par. And if it's a big SBC, like the big Mbappé's or the Gullits, even the Gullit, I think it's still decently priced. Like you don't want to give that for free, right? Basically.
Yeah.
But 1.5 for this does feel a little bit cheap. But then again, we also get the Hernandez card for free. So we're in a crazy zone anyways. But I do think for every SBC, there's two things you should do. Is do you think it will fit your team? So you have to make sure you commit to doing it, no matter how many SBCs there are in that. And the second thing is you don't want to look back or listen. Like, for example, you do an SBC now for striker, you do the Ronaldo card, Chris. Don't look at new striker SBCs that come out for a while, unless you're sick of them, because it will only give you that FOMO feeling. And I do think that what EA did really well this year, and we had a couple of conversations this week on the Discord about it, is they actually made sure FOMO isn't that big of a deal this year, like fear of missing out, because we have players that started in January that have amazing teams. We have players that restarted in March with second accounts that have amazing teams. There's no reason to be. I didn't do Gullit, for example, and I'm not too worried about it either. For one, I think I still use Pirlo and I use Bonmati, the 94 rated pink card, of course. Good cards. Is Gullit better? 100%. Can I be bothered by spending 2 days doing SBCs? Definitely not. So I'm not bothered by if I see a Gullit, or I'm not bothered by thinking, I could have a Gullit this year. It is what it is, and I'm fine with my midfield. I think if you do it like this, and the fact that those in cheap, like free Zidans and free Maradonas, I do think it sounds like an EA promotion, this one, I'm not realizing. But they don't do much wrong these days, in my honest opinion, Chris.
No, there's not been many mistakes either, to be fair. There hasn't been many mistakes. So, no, I mean, it's a good SBC. It's probably going to, it's taking a lot of the headlines this time. So we'll move on if that's all right, John. We'll talk about the team. But so normally, James, when we talk about the team, we don't talk about players that are over $1 million coins. But actually, since you're a guest, why don't you pick a player that you want to talk about? It can be any price. Interested to get your take on it.
Okay, well, if you've given me a special pass this year, I might as well just go this show. I'll go all out.
You can go back this year. It's all right.
I'll go all out then, and I'll pick Zico. The first 3 weeks of this game, I was very fortunate, and I packed the base Zico. And what a card! So I was very, very lucky. Unfortunately, it doesn't make my team today, but it was such a great card to use, and I've never ever had that as Zico. But also on another side of the coin, that's now 3 years in a row that I've packed a Brazil icon. The other two was Ronaldinho, so that was good. So it is pretty pricey without a shadow of a doubt, but I like the look of the card. 5/5. Great pace, good shooting, good passing, good dribbling. It's got everything really, and then the rolls as well, which is so important this year. And also going from the base one, he doesn't have Shadow Striker plus. So again, that's great. And also as well, it's good that he can actually play centre mid as well. So because I feel at the start of the game, you couldn't really do certain formations because of the new roles and positions. So it's good to have a wee bit of, leg room for other positions. So I like to see a card having more than just the one position. So I would definitely say Zico. Any of you guys used cards before in previous ones, or what do you think of them?
Never
I used
been as
him
lucky.
last year, I think. He's a good card, Chris, but I think pay 3 million for a card, he should be good, right?
Yeah, definitely. I just thought I'd go all out there. I thought Pele would be the obvious answer, so I just went for this man.
No, and I mean, both are very good. What I do think, and I've got a little bit of a bone to pick with these cards, though. Probably on popular opinion, but I tend to be good at those lately. Chris, we had a discussion about like animated or heroes, like superhero drawn hero cards last year.
Mm-hmm.
We were very positive about card design and generally speaking this year.
Mm-hmm.
If you combine pictures from, I don't know, 1960, all blurred out and all washed out like this Zico card, put it on a great design, it's still a really ugly card. It looks pretty horrific in the 4K image on the game. I'd rather see they just redraw these or make them, I don't know, cartoon figures or make a sketch from it, do something fun with it. Because this looks really horrible in my honest opinion. And it's not the first time it actually, like if you put it on the big, Chris, you're in your new podcast studio there.
Mm-hmm.
You got like a 77-inch big screen on your wall watching football,
John,
playing games.
Aye. I wish.
No, it's a big screen. But if you see it on 4K, it does. It feels a little bit cheap, doesn't it?
I think it looks vintage, John. I mean, you know what I mean?
I look vintage. That's not vintage.
Yeah, I must admit, you in 4K is a hard one. I'll be honest with you.
That's why we broadcast on 1080 these days.
I like the dynamic image of it. I think it shows a bit of joy there with him. Never been lucky enough to pack him. Wonderful player. I think that is the last great Brazilian team, that 82 one. James is a young guy. He may not remember when David Neary scored for Scotland against him and woke the Brazilian team up, and they absolutely ran riot. And Zico was in his pomp, but that was one of the last great Brazilian teams that played a true Brazilian style of football.
I don't think many people that listen to this podcast actually remember that, Chris.
Well, you've worth going check it out. Spain 82 World Cup. There was World Cups before Ronaldo and Messi, and he was one of them in there. The great team, Falcao and Socrates and all that. Just names it off your tongue there. So no, I like that card. It's a great choice there, James. I know we say it's 1 million coins, but actually Zico is a special card.
You name one, Chris, then. What's the play you want to highlight?
Well, I'm going to stay away from the one, the most obvious one. There's a player there, and help me out here, is Smith, striker, 93 rated. 285,000 coins. Just for a 5-4, so 5-star weak foot. Interested to get your take on it, John. It's a relatively cheap card. Is it because it's got so many strikers? Because you look at that team there, there's not much to pick up. A Bailey potentially, centre midfield, but we've all got Zidane. I find it difficult not to pick one of the big ones. That's the problem, I think, because there's none of them. You're looking at. I'll tell you what. Let's go for one for our good friend Nath, Wayne Rooney. Let's talk about him. We miss, let's talk about that. Or Shaq. We know they're mad Man United fans. The Wayne Rooney card. Nice design, nice card design. I'm sure you're going to like that one, John.
Yeah, but he's not that old, eh?
No, he's not old. He looks old now. I've seen him on the TV this week.
I mean, that is true.
But that's I actually really like that design of the card. I think it's a nice dynamic image. 1.3 I don't think is particularly expensive at this stage of the game when coins really don't have potentially much value. Role-wise, striker and a cam, so he's got the shadow striker that you spoke about there, James. Advanced forward ++ and false 9++. Decent enough card. What do you think, John?
No, I think so as well. We're having a little bit of issues sharing the screen, so I can't really toss it on the screen at the moment. But I do think most of these cards look good, and like a Rooney card for 37k. Nah, can't really pass that if you're a fan, right? That's what I have with my team. Can't really. That's not an issue. It's
Strength
good.
90, aggression 93. It's a really strong card there. So that's one that if you packed, you would be happy with. I just would like to see these players around about 1 million coins be more in the pack. I think. I don't know if James. I don't know if you can tell us what the last big pull that you got on from a pack at all.
The last
It's been
one.
so long, I can't even remember.
It's been, I would say so. Yeah, I totally agree, actually, to be honest. I think all of us will pack that, for example, Zambrotta at 41k, the 89 rated Zambrotta, I'm sure we'll pack. But yeah, I can't really remember, to be honest. I did have good pack luck at the start, but it's vanished.
So if you think about it from my point of view, if I don't pack a lot, I don't play weekend league, so I accept the fact that probably my pack luck's not going to be there because the packs I get are just run of the mill, as you say. But you've played weekend league every weekend, you've hit 10 wins, so you'll be getting decent rewards. And the fact that you don't remember the last time you actually pulled a card that excited you shows you that I think the pack weight this year has been quite low.
Yeah, I totally agree, Chris.
So, John, You've been waiting. Okay, we're going to put you in misery. Look out, people who are watching, you've never seen him smile so much. So, John is a former goalkeeper. Am I right in saying that, John?
I am, yes.
Mad Juventus fan. Buffon super fan, as it says on his name. So, John, take it away.
Yeah, so we finally have a John. We already had one Buffon card before, of course. We had an SBC, a junior SBC of him. He was in my team for a long, long time because he had the Far Reach Plus card on it, while not many goalkeepers had it. This stage of game, of course, many more goalkeepers have it, so that's not really a point to do it. I still think the Buffon card is one of the best goalkeepers in game. I think this goalkeeper will be the best goalkeeper in game for a long, long while. But the price shows that as well, because 560,000 coins for a goalkeeper at the current market is quite high for a goalkeeper, Chris. I don't want to go into much stats. I need this card in my team. But I've got one issue with FUT, Chris, and that is I usually don't have much coins. So I'm pretty sure I can't afford them with 20,000 in my balance currently. So I am really hoping I can pack him somehow. That would be the dream. And of course, I was kidding about it, but I'm a huge Buffon fan. Everyone knows that. I've been photographing myself at Juventus Museum a couple of times already with his 1000 match shirt on stands. Yeah, I think it's a terrific card, and I'm finally happy that this week and last week we both got 2 goalkeepers in the team, right? And I think we are this close, Chris, for you to get a goalkeeper evolution.
I hope so, but the thing is, John, I have a fairly decent coin balance because I don't think coins are really worth that much this time.
To buy Buffon.
Yeah. So do I go and potentially buy Buffon? Is he good enough? Is he good enough to take you through team of the season?
Yes, but I'm also going to be a little bit critical here. I've said this before. You don't want to spend like hundred thousands of coins on a goalkeeper nor a fullback. And honestly, I even have to say that for Buffon. Don't spend 500,000 coins on a goalkeeper. Because next week you might get a special goalkeeper, which might feel just as good. You might get an SBC for a goalkeeper. We had Chesney a week or so back. Everyone got like a Pope in packs a couple of weeks back. There's so many options available that don't make much of a difference. It doesn't really matter if you have a 90 rated goalkeeper or 94. I still use Casillas. Sure, he doesn't always stop the low driven, but neither will Buffon. It's just a little bit of preference. And I think it's more like it's that one card I would like to have in my team because I'm a fan. And I do think it's a really good card, but I would not honestly recommend anyone buying a goalkeeper 500k unless, again, you're looking at that margins all the way on top of the pro level somewhere. Then this card will make one extra save compared to someone else, but details. But I'm still happy it's in. If that makes sense. Chris, we have a couple of questions though.
Okay.
And I normally know you get a lot of questions and fan mail and I have to send autographs. But this week, I have to admit, it's all for James. Everyone sending questions for James. So I will put it on screen for people to read, but I'm also going to put it, of course, on. Just going to read it out. Mystic Smack. So Simon has a couple of questions for you, James. But first he says, I'm so glad to have you on again. Firstly, I just want to say what an inspiration you are. Tenacity, bravery, humor, and a great player. EA should be shining a light on you as an example to the community. So that's not a question, but I do think it's a nice compliment, and I don't think anyone disagrees with that.
I would just like to thank you very much for that. I appreciate that. Thank you.
Question number 1 he asked for you, though. He says, I'm just curious what your physical limit is in terms of number of games you can play before you need a break, or is the limit more set by mental fatigue?
I would say mental, and the reason for that, when I was younger, I've always had issues with my legs and pain and so on and so forth. I used FIFA was like my painkiller, if you like, if that makes sense. I just play FIFA all night and just take my mind off it. So from a physical point of view, not necessarily, but of course, someone asked me once, do you have cramp? I go, yeah, of course. Of course I do in my foot. Yeah, definitely. But going on the mental side, playing champs, I feel, especially if you're up against a great player, like just last weekend, or even not just a great player, but sometimes don't go against you. Like you can see that a silly goal and then say 11 minutes in, and I'm not just copying Rangers, I get a man sent off, and I was 1-0 down, all to play for. I took it to extra time, and the game was actually 11-10. So it was a crazy game. So with champs from the mental fatigue, I would just advise anyone really just to play a couple of games, five games at max, and then because of it doesn't finish on a Tuesday morning, I believe now, I'll do I wouldn't even start it on a Friday, to be honest with you. I'll do it like maybe a couple on the Saturday, a couple on the Sunday, and then I'll just do the rest in the Monday, to be honest. And like we've spoke about with the pack weight, I don't want to just set my weekend on straight away. Oh, can I get something? Can I pack something good? And then it turns out you're not, and you've done all that. So instead, I don't ruin my weekend for it, if that makes sense. I just go with the flow really regarding champs. So yeah, definitely, I would say mental fatigue would be more.
He has another question as well. He says, "What other games do you like?"
Well, like I touched on at the start, I played the Sega Mega Drive all the way up to the PlayStation. So Sega Mega Drive, it was Road Rash, I believe. It was like a motorbike game. I played so many different games, like Grand Theft Auto, Red Redemption 2. I think that's one of the best story mode games ever made, to be honest with you. It was just great. Also, recently, in lockdown, I haven't met a person yet, a gamer that hasn't played Warzone, to be honest. I played that, and I even got a solo victory. I even got a solo victory with my feet playing that, so that was really good. And also, most recently, I've dabbled with Marvel Rivals. So I like to be open and play the games, but I must admit, if I buy a new game, I'll play it for a couple of hours, or maybe 5 days, and I'll just go back to FIFA. That's it. So I can buy other games and play other games, but I just love football, so I'll just play FIFA.
Sounds a lot like Chris, though.
Yeah. So I play James as FIFA. I do like the few, but I just find that my age games don't go too quick for me. First person shooters, unfortunately, make me a little bit dizzy. So I like Event Horizon, things like that, and still not played God of War yet, the new one.
Oh,
Still
yeah,
waiting for it
that's
to come
good.
in price.
What about if I failed to mention actually Football Manager? I love Football Manager. I play that as well on the PC. Do you play that?
No, I
No,
just
no,
don't have the time.
no.
I'm afraid not. Sorry.
That's fair enough.
Yeah, I used to play that a lot when I was not a business owner. It's not doable anymore. And there's no game this year, but that's a different story. Question number 3, because Simon keeps going. Do you still try to work on your game and improve as a player and get better results, or just play for fun and see what happens?
100%. I still want to improve, to be honest with you, definitely. It's still for fun as well, but I feel anyone, even Cristiano Ronaldo, still probably thinks he can improve. So it's all about
Even Chris does.
Yeah, so it's all about mindset. That's what it is, guys. Just your mental again, and just think. So I would probably say I'd love to improve. Every day's a school day.
Every day is school day. We keep that in. Except I called the last podcast you were on that, I think, so I can't use that title anymore.
Yeah, I think I said the exact same. Aye.
James, last question from Simon, but we have more questions for you. He says, what tin hat theory do you subscribe to?
What theory? Sorry.
What tin hat theory would you subscribe to? What's one thing you think you believe in, which probably isn't true?
One thing I believe in that isn't true.
Like Chris still believes in DDA, for example.
DD is real. 100% is real, John. I think there's also a confidence glitch as well, but I'll wait for James to finish his answer.
I'm stumped, to be honest with you. I just take it away,
That's
Chris.
good. That's good. You're like me. You just believe in yourself. That's more important. Chris, you can do this, Don. What's the tin hat theory you would subscribe to? You can't take all show, though. Just you can take one, maybe two, but not the full dozen like you usually do.
You'll say it's me, John, right? You'll say, it's the player that does this. But I think when you score a goal, if you're getting beat 1-0 and you score a goal, your team suddenly runs a little bit faster.
Yeah.
They get that
No,
confidence.
I mean, sorry, I left, but I put a straight face on. Yes, cool theory.
I played last night. I played a game last night, right? 40 minutes, guy was on top, right? Scored a goal in the second half, and all of a sudden, my guys were running about crazy. And I'm sure that's in the code somewhere. There's a confidence glitch in the code.
Confidence
Fair
glitch.
enough.
That's a good name for this show, then. Melling the Great says, do you use the individual tactics to set up different formations which you can switch during game if necessary, or do you mainly use it to adjust your main formation, play style, play depth, the rules, etc.? In case you use it to change the formation, do you consider formations that your starting 11 is able to play related to the rules, or is there something like a plan B, different formation paired with particular subs? James, how far do you go in this?
I could play 5 formations in the one game. I'm very tactical, and I failed to mention as well with the other question what games I play. I play chess a lot, so I'm very strategic. I can't even pronounce it, but what I would do, with the positions and roles, I like to have, like, I've got a 4-2-2 at the moment, but I've got 3 variations to it, so it'll be balanced. Then I've got a counter one, and I've just got an all-out attack. And then also I've got certain roles I feel help you depending on what tactics. So say, for example, you play against a 4-2-1-3, which is the most common tactic that everyone plays. If you play one of the wing backs on support, that wing back helps you overload the midfield, but also in the wide. So, for example, if the wing back on support goes wide and it goes, then their left back is drawn to that. So as soon as they go to that, then your right inside forward has just got loads of space, and it's just like a domino. Then that left centre back goes to that player, and then you pass it to the striker. Boom! It's a goal unmarked. So yeah, definitely, and because also I play with my feet, rolls and build up is so important. Like I use a lot of people use advanced forward on a striker, for example. I love poacher. It's always automatically going for that run. But not only that, I choose it because I'm not looking to pass to that player the whole time, but it pushes the opponent's defence back. And also even better, when you play against a good player and they track every run manually, then it creates more space for the midfield, to be honest, and just use it as a decoy run. So I would say tactics come into it, definitely. Always. I'm always looking to manipulate a situation to my advantage, to be honest.
Which is how it should be, right? Last question from Flopper88. He says, if you could pick any one Celtic player from the past... Sorry, Chris, you're not going to like this question. If you could pick one Celtic player from the past that you'd love to have in the game as a hero or an icon, who would it be and why?
Well, Henrik Larsson, but he's already an icon, so
I think it should be Kazim, right?
Huh?
Kazim? You don't know Kazim? It's Feyenoord and Celtic. Oh,
all right. No, we'll go. Right, I'll go with a player that should be an icon then. Billy McStay, for example, European Cup winner, 1967 captain. I would love for him to be an icon.
I thought you would say Pierre van Hooydonk.
Well, that is well true, but yeah, I'll go with McStay.
Awesome. Chris, I'll ask you the Glasgow Rangers or the Rangers question.
Rangers one. So for me, it's probably with Gaza, because it's probably the one that's most likely to get in. Unfortunately, with his personal problems that Gaza has, but I think every football fan loves him as a player. Maybe James less so when he was at Rangers, but when he played, in England and Italia 90 and that, I think he stole a lot of hearts, didn't he? So if you could get his life together, I think he has done a little bit of that, but I think the baggage with Gaza, but Gaza would be an ideal one for Newcastle fans, Spurs fans, Lazio fans, England fans, and Rangers fans. That would be an
for
awesome
any
one.
of fans that are not involved with this club. Who's Gaza again?
That's coming.
All right. I knew. Don't worry. I know. Don't worry. I know. I see the shirt. I know there's a boot, but I'm just making sure that.
No, Gaza would be the ideal one. I think, especially if you're in the UK, Gaza would be the one. There's a player though that is not a Rangers player, and our good friend will like this one. Is Glenn Hoddle. He was a player beyond his time actually in England. He was actually a wonderful player. Had some weird opinions at this time, but he's actually quite a decent pundit. But he was a wonderful, skillful player. And that would be a nice one to have in game. I'm not sure how he would translate because he was so silky. But that one, so yeah, Glenn Hoddle.
That's pretty cool, honestly. I'm thinking, did Van Hanegem play for Celtic as well?
Volharen, he was Belgian.
Yeah, I'm just thinking now what clubs could be really cool for. But anyways, let's not go there.
There was one player actually would be quite exciting, and that was Jinky Johnson.
Yeah, definitely.
He was a small striker, a small winger. Great with the ball, wee Jinky. And if you ever want to read a story about him, look for Jinky Johnson and the Story of the Boat.
That was my grandpa's favourite player of all time.
So Jinky Johnson, a wonderful player, and a typical small Scottish winger.
I'll go for Bobby Petta as a combined.
Bobby Petta as well. You're rolling back the years. I remember that man. He was good.
But
as you just Googled Celtic players, Dutch Celtic players there, John.
No, because I was also thinking maybe Kazim Richards or Evander Snow played for Celtic and Feyenoord.
Oh
as
yeah,
well.
that's
So
right.
there's a couple of players which
So,
sort of have an overlap, which I thought could be fun. But I was trying to find some that was actually Celtic, maybe Glasgow, but that doesn't really happen, right? Rangers. So,
But one that would be interesting for EA to be Jan Vinegar of Hesselink to see if they could fit his name actually in the game.
No,
yeah,
that would just be funny for you guys to pronounce it every single week.
I definitely
just pronounced it right or not? How would
you tried. You tried. Anyways, guys,
No,
that's
no,
going to
no,
do it
just
in
like
for
pronounce-
episode 674 of FUT In Review. A
Can I
big
just-
thanks, of course, to Chris and our special guest, James Tolando. Check him out, Tolando77 on all socials, I think, James.
Yeah, that's correct. Thank you. Thanks for having me. It's been great, guys. It's really good to see you again, so thank you.
Brilliant. Thanks for joining me on this Buffon blast adventure through week 2 of FUT Immortals. Whether you're packing icons or just vibing with the club, remember we'll be back next week with more insights, laughs, and FUT goodness. Of course, powered by FUTcoaching.com. And check out patreon.com/FUT in review if you want to go that extra mile and help us make this show even better and more consistent. Although we never miss the beat. So hey, there's that. And as always, guys, let's see if you can still do this. It is time for us to drop it.
Drop it.
Drop it.
Drop it.
FUT in review.